how ugly and single men are trapped. You know, there's a lot of skepticism that goes on in the world. A lot of skepticism. Men are typically the ones that are able to see through the BS. It almost seems like that's part of our job. Our job is to, from a logical perspective, look at something and think to themselves, that's BS. I don't really believe that. I'm going to go in this direction instead. I'm going to go my own way. Go my own way. Men are very good at that. Men are able to see through the lies. They're able to see through all of the charade, the veil. And they're able to kind of determine whether or not something is a total illusion, a total falsity. It's an excellent instinct that single men have, particularly when they use that energy for the good of mankind. You can see it in the comment section. You can see it in any comment section on the internet. There's usually people that'll point out, bullshit! That's BS. That's crap. That doesn't make sense. They're using that ability to, in a way, to help people. They want to be able to throw up the red flags and say, this is crap. Don't believe it. Don't believe the lies. It's a very excellent instinct that men have. But for a single man, one of the issues that he might have to where he might, in fact, trap himself is if he's looking around and the first instinct that he has is that, yeah, nobody's paying attention to me, so that must mean that I'm ugly. Nobody's really talking to me, so I must not be social. Nobody's giving me the time of day, so I must be worthless. A man is cutting through the BS, isn't he? He's cutting through the BS and he's seeing the reality of what's going on in his life. That's the reality. That's what's going on. And so a man makes that determination that he points that skepticism back towards himself. That skepticism is now biting him in the ass. Because out of all the YouTube research that he's done, out of all of the books that he's read, out of all of the ways he's studied, to be able to cut out and weed out all of the BS in life, it's now coming back to bite him. Why is that? How is it that the energy that a perceived ugly single man has can soon be directed back at him? You know, I've seen basement dwellers before. Basement dwellers, you know, the guys that play World of Warcraft, the guys that like to do a lot of YouTube investigation, a lot of guys that don't really want to hang out with people because nobody pays attention to them. Everybody almost feels like repulsed by him because it's just, gosh, this guy really has nothing useful to add. He's not fun to be around. All he does is just spout off conspiracy theories. All of his YouTube research that he hasn't quite tested yet. He spouts it out verbatim from whatever he's heard. He parrots it. And people can see through that BS and they weed him out. We're not going to pay attention to this guy. He's annoying. Like in a previous YouTube video I mentioned, the annoying single guy. But the unfortunate part about, if you want to call them basement dwellers, is that the energy that they're using for the research, for doing whatever they want, for, you know, whether it be playing World of Warcraft, or it could be even NBA 2K. I play NBA 2K, and I feel this. I think I feel it after about an hour. I'm using my energy, my mental energy, in order to win the game. And I beat the game. But then I look at the clock and I see 1 hour, 2 hours have passed by, and I sort of feel, I don't know, just useless. Because a lot of the energy that I've been expelling has been directed inwardly to, you know, the thing that I want to do. This is something that I want to do. This is something for myself, to get away from all the BS of the world, to get away from all of the, you know, crap I got to deal with at work. I need some me time. There's nothing wrong with that. However, soon, when that energy for the me time turns inward for a long period of time, pretty soon that's when the demons come out, right? The demons! That's when the energy gets directed on the skeptic, on the person that normally uses his mental energy, you know, when it's not solving problems on a video game, it's solving problems in the world. And so the thought in the back of your mind is that, gosh, I just played this game for a couple hours. I'm not really ahead in life. Gosh, I haven't even taken a shower yet. I feel kind of useless. Like I didn't do anything all day. Yeah, people were calling me on my phone, but I didn't really want to answer it. It's me time. This is my time. Then eventually your brain will begin to rationalize that, yeah, it's probably best that I'm single and alone. That's the real me. The real me. And then he looks around in his room and sees that he hasn't cleaned it for quite some time. I can remember a guy I knew. I went into his apartment. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. He was a single guy. Had a mountain of trash right next to his reclining chair. Mountain of trash. The mountain of trash was like KFC wrappers, McDonald's bags. Didn't even use any sort of energy in order to throw it out or pick it up. His apartment hadn't been cleaned in months, or if ever. Plaque began to develop around the sink, the countertops. Where was this man using all of his energy? Because when we wake up every morning, there's a certain amount of energy that we have. How is this guy using it? When, you know, just kind of like just regular chores. I know they're chores. They're, you know, sometimes they can be frustrating to have to deal with, but just taking care of yourself, just the basics of brushing your teeth, just not doing it. I just don't have the energy to do it. I just feel so depressed that I just don't I lack the will to really, do anything. So I tend to sort of sleep all day. I sleep all day. After a while, where does that energy tend to go? Because we all have a default amount of energy, mental energy. Where does it all go? Where does it all get trapped? In a single person's skeptical mind. Remember that. Remember that a man has the ability to cut through the BS. So where does that energy to cut through the BS, where does that lie when it's not being used? On you. It gets redirected towards you. It's almost like a Rottweiler. Like if you had like a Doberman or something like that, that's used to protect you. A man's skepticism is used to protect you. What happens if that Doberman has so much energy and it hasn't eaten in days, weeks, months? How will it look at its owner, at its own owner? Typically, dogs love their owner. What will a hungry dog do? What will a hungry Rottweiler do to its owner if it hasn't eaten at all? If you haven't fed it, if you haven't allowed it to use its God-given capabilities, it'll eat him, won't it? Man's skepticism will inevitably eat the owner. How does this show up? Depression, lack of energy, not wanting to do anything. I'm just randomly giving you just a few items, but you could probably determine in your own skeptical mind, what are some of the things that pop up when you kind of feel kind of depressed? Nobody's interested in me. Well, what's the solution? How can you use that skeptical mind the way that it's supposed to be used? Well, something that I found is that with a skeptical person, you can present them with just a load of stuff for them to eat, because they eat it all the time. They eat it up all the time. What do I mean by this? If I wanted to talk about politics with you, a skeptic will use his energy on trying to prove me wrong. So I can just keep on feeding that to you over and over again, and you'll eat it. And you know what? You'll enjoy the feeling of being right. You love the feeling of it's kind of like a phantom. It's kind of like a dark feeling of satisfaction that I won the argument. Want to talk about dating? Want to talk about red pill? I can debate any guy on red pill. Any guy. Because I know the crap that some red pillers are talking nowadays, and I can prove you wrong. Because I've got instances in my own life. Of course, I've been, just a basement dweller for the past 6 months, but that doesn't matter. The solution. How can you use that skepticism for other people? How can you use it to help people? Well, the first step is to be around other people, first of all. Got to be around other people. And instead of eating from the table of political skepticism, red pill skepticism, maybe you're able to find a way to try to protect or help out somebody that maybe is like you, that spends a lot of time by himself. What if you're able to get together with another single guy that maybe feels alone, that maybe feels just out of place, weird? He's just a weirdo. And what if you're able to, help him out. Maybe you two go out to eat or something like that. Maybe you find ways of doing other things, rather getting out of the house. Go see a movie. Go find a hobby that makes you feel good. I was watching Groundhog Day, and in Groundhog Day, this guy is stuck in his life. He's trapped in his life. Bill Murray is trapped in his life. Why? Because he's skeptical that that the town that he's going to really has anything to offer. This town has nothing to offer. This small town has just absolutely nothing to offer. Lived here for years. Useless town, useless people, never done anything with their life. But what happens throughout the course of the movie is that the universe traps him. He has to find a way to make things work within this small town that he hates. So what does he do? First of all, he does things to essentially prove himself correct, that this town is just useless and these people are boring and purposeless. And then he just begins to find ways of annihilate himself. Throws a toaster into the bathtub, jumps off a building, until he comes to the realization that he can use all of that skeptical energy for this town that he's been in for quite some time, the same day over and over again, and he uses that energy for other people. He finds hobbies that he likes, learns to play piano, learns to cut up ice sculptures, puts himself out there to be, what is that, bachelor contest, most eligible bachelor contest, to where doesn't he get paired up with some old person or somebody that's not probably ideal, but maybe they haven't been out on a date for quite some time. Maybe the unattractive women that you've been around, maybe they just need a date. Maybe you just need to go out with them once just to kind of make them feel good. If anything, it stirs up the energy, stirs up the universal energy that's in the world, rather than focusing it on biting you in the ass. Towards the end of Groundhog Day, this is a spoiler, he ends up getting together with a woman that was there the entire time. And she had to see it too. And the only way for her to see it was to be able to see a man using his abilities of skepticism in ways that are healthy. Healthy hobbies. Healthy attitudes. I know I've said a lot in this video, but these are some of the things that come to my mind when a perceived ugly single man is trapped by skepticism. Take care, folks. God bless. Peace.